Real Madrid continued to dominate in La Liga. They beat Espanyol at the Santiago Bernabeu last weekend, but this weekend they're on the road to take on Betis down in Seville for the first time in 3 years, and they'll certainly be hoping to maintain that 10-point lead at the top of La Primera. Hello and welcome to this special online edition of The Match. I'm Pablo Follielius, and joining me this week is 442 Magazine's Tim Stannard. Hi Tim, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
It's certainly going to be a big game, isn't it, down in Seville?
This is going to be a really enjoyable Saturday night game. It kicks off 10 o'clock local time, so there's plenty of time for the atmosphere to build up. Betis have been waiting for this one. They've been out of the Primera for a few seasons now when they went through some terrible times and got relegated. So I'm really expecting a tough away game, maybe similar to the ones against Rayo, against Getafe, where Real Madrid are going to have to dig in, try and get that goal on the break or from a set piece. I'm expecting a tough battle.
Well, Real Madrid, of course, as I mentioned, are going into this game on the back of yet another fantastic victory, 5-0 against Espanyol last weekend. We saw one player in particular, that's Gonzalo Higuain, do particularly well, and he scored against Betis earlier in the season, didn't he? A hat-trick. Absolutely.
Well, this followed basically a very familiar pattern for the Real Madrid games at home. Very, very comfortable. It wasn't really a contest, unlike the away matches, which is why it's going to be a good one this weekend. And yes, Gonzalo Higuain had a difficult time against Rayo, came under some criticism in the local press, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, because I think he's been a fantastic player for Real Madrid, especially this season. He hasn't been starting.
Well, 16 goals, isn't it? 16
goals, actually. Before that game when he scored 14, and not even the starting striker. But again, he delivered when it mattered. He's put in a great performance. In fact, it was a good performance from everyone, from Ronaldo and especially Kaká as well. But really important for Higuain to get those goals, and he got a hat-trick earlier this season against Betis. I expect him maybe to pick up one or two more on Saturday.
That's great. Well, let's hear from the man himself. He spoke to Real Madrid television and the rest of the press after that game against Espanyol last weekend, and this is what he had to say.
Bueno, todos los delanteros pasan por rachas tanto positivas como negativas y la verdad que es importante siempre estar tranquilo de la cabeza. Yo ya llevo 5 años acá y creo que tranquilidad tengo suficiente y bueno, sé lo que es el Madrid, sé lo que es esto y por eso estoy tranquilo.
Well, he's certainly a very confident guy, isn't he, Gonzalo Higuain, Tim?
And he has to be as well, because he's been here 5 years at the club now. He knows how things work in the Spanish media, especially. You score 2 or 3 goals, you're the best striker in the world. You have a bit of a difficult patch, and it's all a disaster. And the paper's saying, oh, he needed that. Not really, no. Higuain is a consistent goal scorer, and he's been fantastic.
Well, he was back training with the rest of his teammates. They had Monday and Tuesday off after that Sunday night game. What's the latest from the Real Madrid camp? How are they looking?
Well, basically, it's all about getting the two really big injured players at the moment, of course, Karim Benzema and Angel Di Maria. Benzema at the moment is back in training. You may see him, as we're recording this at the moment, we don't know the squad. We don't know if he's going to be in the squad. You may see him for 10-15 minutes even against Betis, but I have a feeling he'll be, they won't risk that, and they'll be using him perhaps for the midweek Champions League game against Moscow, of course, they got coming up, or maybe next week against Malaga. Angel Di Maria, still no word. Maybe, I think they're going to this weekend maybe do a test on him, but he's a key player and it'd be fantastic to get them back. So, all about getting those two back. But as you said, an interesting run coming up. Moscow during the week. CSK Moscow 1-1 in that tie.
So they need a good victory.
I think that's going to be a comfortable win, and then a really interesting tie against Malaga. Of course, they played Malaga twice in January in the Copa del Rey, and I'm really looking forward to that one as well.
Well, who do you think Jose Mourinho is going to choose for a starting 11 against Betis down in Seville?
He won't be resting anyone. He won't be putting anyone on the bench thinking of the next 2 games. It's going to be a very strong team, basically. Ramos and Pepe into the back 2, Marcelo, Arbeloa, Sami Khedira, another one of those who had a great game against Espanyol.
He certainly did.
Really important that he's in good form at the moment. Again, Kaká, I think, will stick in that spot. Ozil on the right. The one change maybe is that Kai Hon might come in the game. Higuain, of course, up front while Benzema comes back, and Cristiano Ronaldo on the left. But say on the left, he's all over the pitch, and I think another one who's going to score another goal, I think, on Saturday night. So 30 so far, which is incredible.
Certainly is. I spoke to Sami Khedira after the game last week, and he was absolutely over the moon having scored.
He really was. Ausgezeichnet?
He was ausgezeichnet. He was very excited indeed. Do you think he's going to be someone who's going to maybe become more and more important in the Real Madrid team?
Yeah, he's playing in a really tough position, which is one of the less glamorous ones for Real Madrid, in that centre of position, and I think he's been out. He's been allowed to attack a little bit more than he was before. He's a key player.
Well, of course, they face Betis this weekend, the team who are sitting 12th in La Liga. How do you see them? How do you see the rest of the season go for them?
If they stay in 12th, they'll be very happy indeed. They started off in the Primera back after relegation.
That's right.
An absolute flyer, and they were leading for one of the weeks. But then they had this awful run of 10 games where they picked up just 1 point. It was a bit of a disaster, and the coach Pepe Mel was under huge pressure. They're a tremendously inconsistent side. You watch them; they play really nice, offensive, as you say, attacking football. Very good to watch, but sometimes they can be really good. Sometimes they can be quite dreadful. So. Up and down, and they were down very much so on Monday night when they lost out to Levante, but they're a nice open team which may cost them, I think, against Real Madrid.
Well, they'll certainly have to make sure that their defence is strong against Real Madrid this weekend. But during the week we heard from one player in particular, that's the goalkeeper Fabricio Costa, better known as Fabri down in Betis, and this is what he had to say.
No, está claro que sabemos que la dificultad que tiene el partido, ¿no? Que son muy buen equipo, pero nosotros creo que vamos a tener nuestras opciones, haciendo nuestro fútbol, pues creo que le podemos poner en algún aprieto y bueno, esperemos estar acertados y que se nos salga todo de cara y ya te digo, está lo mejor posible para intentar hacerle el mayor daño.
Well, that was Fabri speaking to the press down in Seville during the week. He is confident enough, isn't he, that they can maybe cause not an upset, but they'll definitely make it difficult.
Well, Mauricio Pochettino, I think we saw last week, said the same thing, where of course they're going to try and make life as difficult as possible, but you've got arguably one of the best teams in Europe at the moment coming to visit them, and their defence has been a little bit shaky. It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere no matter what. They do have this famous 12th man in the stands, so they are going to be pushing them on. So, but I really do think Real Madrid enjoy these kind of tough away games more than perhaps they do the home ones at the moment, which have been a bit of a procession.
Now, we've spoken a couple of times about Pepe Mel. How do you see him as a coach? He's an interesting character, isn't he?
He is a very interesting guy. He's actually written a book as well.
Oh, that's right.
He's an author. He's written a detective one. It's not about football either. He's one of those that, again, nearly lost his job, but very level-headed, tactically quite smart. And he's doing a really good job with Betis. Another one of these clubs in financial trouble. Right. Another one of those players going unpaid. A lot of debt.
Club.
No.
Okay.
I think we're going to be saying that. Well, Malaga are coming next week. It might be a different story.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's true. Well, there's plenty of other games, of course, taking place this weekend. So let's take a closer look now at what we can expect for match day 27. Last weekend you got 4.
4, which is not bad for me.
Which is a pass. Just. So let's take a closer look now. So we'll start there with Real Sociedad against Zaragoza. That's Saturday at 6.
A surprise win for Zaragoza last week, but I think they're going to go back to form and lose this one against Real Sociedad.
This will be an interesting clash now. Malaga against Levante. Levante is still 4th in the table.
You know what?
Which is incredible.
If you want to do a sneaky bet for the 4th place team, I think Malaga are going to come into form. You don't have to have too much form to get 4th, and I think they'll start with a home win.
Okay, that's great. Sporting still struggling down there at the bottom of the table against Sevilla. That's Saturday at 8.
Sporting are now gritty under Clemente, and Sevilla maybe a little bit soft away, so I think a draw for that one.
Now hold off on what result you think the result is going to be, but who do you think is going to win between Betis and Real Madrid Saturday at 10?
I'm going to say Real Madrid. I wouldn't be massively surprised though if they do drop points.
Okay, Atletico Madrid against Granada Sunday at midday.
Easy home win for Atletico.
Okay, Espanyol against Rayo Sunday at midday as well.
I think that's going to be a home win for Espanyol. Rayo in great form though.
Okay, Valencia still up there in 3rd against Mallorca. That's Sunday at 4.
Dead set home win. Nothing can go wrong for Valencia there.
Okay, Racing, who are struggling also against Barcelona. That is Sunday at 6.
Racing lost another coach. Barcelona with a great win during the week. Easy away win for Barcelona.
Big game up there in Pamplona between Osasuna and Athletic Bilbao. That's Sunday at 9:30. Athletic Bilbao, incredible result against Man U last night.
Brilliant performance, brilliant result. I think that might take a lot out of them. Osasuna home win.
That's great. And finally, Villarreal against Getafe, Monday at 9 o'clock.
Getafe in just very ambivalent form at the moment, so I think that's going to be... They're up and down as well, rather like Betis. I think that'll be a home win though.
Okay, and finally, let's just get your final prediction on the game between Betis and Real Madrid, Saturday night, 10 p.m.
It's changing every 10 minutes, but I think it's going to be 3-1 to Real Madrid. Gonzalo Higuain with a couple of goals and Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay, well, we'll see how you get on next week. That's all we have time for on this week's show, Tim, so thanks a lot. Don't forget that you can keep updated on all the latest Real Madrid news, of course, on Real Madrid Television and on all the social media networks. But for myself and Tim here in the Spanish capital, bye-bye.